All right, so yes, I made the this next video right after the one for episode 301. So this is for episode 302 for Outlander, season 3, episode 2. Um, wow, I have not been affected by an episode emotionally as much as I was by this video. Maybe since probably season 2, episode 1, especially all the pain that we see with when Claire, because it opens up with Claire coming back through the stones and um, she's searching for the ring and stuff, and it's just, man, that was emotional. But I'm going to tell you, this episode was very emotional, at least for me. I cried several times. I think I spent most of the time in tears through this episode. It really was really well done. And Sam Heughan has done an excellent job of bringing forth the Dunbonnet for this episode. The episode was called Surrender, and again, because I watch it on the Stars app on Amazon Prime, I got to watch the little snippet at the end with Matt and Tony and Ron Moore, and I liked their little summation of it. And I see it's really both Jamie and Claire having to surrender to the lives that they're in. I like how these first episodes are really going with the book, because it's not really so much from Claire's perspective or from Jamie's perspective. It's really just telling the story of this is what's gone on for all these years without them together. And I really liked how when Jamie kept coming into the scene, when he kept coming to the house at Lollybrock, and he'd come and he wouldn't talk. He was really distant and sullen and quiet and just a real shell of a person, shell of a man kind of thing. And that's exactly how it was written in the books, that he just, in the book, they didn't even try and talk to him until after he'd been given some hot water and a fresh razor and soap, and he was able to shave and something hot to drink, and maybe even a little bit of whiskey, just something to kind of loosen up his throat because he hadn't talked to anybody for a while. I thought he did an excellent job with this, and I think he was also very well directed in how to go about getting that. I think that's one of the things as an actor, or I've heard actors say that they can do all this stuff in the world, but if the director doesn't help them pull that out of them, then you're going to get a shell of what the character really should be. But I think this time we really saw some very special acting out of Sam Heughan. He's not Oscar caliber yet, I wouldn't say, because it takes a lot more consistency on it. However, I think he's done a very good job so far, and I hope to see him continue on with this. Some of the things we've seen with previews and other little bits here and there, I think he's going to continue on, and I think he's really going to become something special. I just don't think he's exactly there yet. I liked seeing how he kind of went back and forth, and they said in the little snippet at the end of the episode, they talked about how they tried to show back and forth of each Jamie and Claire going through the same kind of struggles. I like seeing Claire struggle with having sex with Frank. She needed the sex, she needed the physical intimacy, but she couldn't throw herself into it with Frank. Somebody I'm friends with on Facebook talked about how Frank never really understood that he could never seem to give his all to Claire. He couldn't lose himself in Claire. Maybe that's a little unfair, maybe just a little, but I can see it because Frank was still so reserved on things that I don't think he was able to completely give of himself. He expected Claire to give a little bit more of herself. I don't think he was very appreciative of what Claire went through especially in the early years. Last weekend we were at a talk where Diana was the keynote speaker last Sunday for a closing writer's workshop. So we got to go and got to meet her, and she signed some books for us, and I got to talk to her for just a minute. Poor thing had to sign, I think, like 4,000, 5,000 books on Sunday evening. So her hand she probably isn't going to type anything all week because she probably can't. Her hands are probably so worn out from it. But anyway, she did talk about how the show is going to have to come down on one side or the other, whether Frank cheated on Claire. I think in the early part of the season, or at least the early part of Bree's life, just as Claire comes back and Bree's a little baby, I don't think Frank was cheating. I think Frank probably cheated later on when Claire was just finally past the point of giving herself to him. She wasn't going to give herself emotionally or physically or anything of that nature. I think the only time she had sex was just to scratch the itch. Honestly, I thought it was really, even being from a man, I thought her laying in bed with Frank and pleasuring herself while thinking of Jamie. I thought that was very telling of where Claire is in her life and in her mentality. And I don't think she ever fully comes back. I don't know as how I could ever fully come back from something like that either. I don't think anybody really could. She found her true soulmate, the person that she really, really loved. And there was no way that Frank was ever going to measure up to Jamie. Frank and Jamie were just two completely separate people. And that's, I think, another reason why Claire really did fall so hard for Jamie when she finally fell and finally said, that's it. You're who I want to be. When we saw in season 1 or in Outlander, when she was given the choice, she didn't go through the stones because she realized, even if I go back, that's not the person I want to be with. That's not the person who I really want. And so when she was forced to go back, it's like being forced to eat, I don't know, maybe like being forced to eat a particular soup. It's like, it's okay, but if I have to eat it every single day, I'm going to get tired of it, and I'm really just going to resent having to eat it. I'll eat it, but I'm going to resent it. I thought, I really liked the whole part, seeing Jamie hold young Ian after he was born. I know they couldn't do everything. I would have liked to have seen the soldiers slash the stairwell, because that becomes a big part in the later books with Bree and Roger. That becomes something really cool. But they didn't do it. Somehow or another, they're going to have to work that kind of stuff in because they got next season, and that comes up next season. Somehow or another, those saber slashes have to come up next season, so I don't know how they're going to do it. But we did see the saber slash through the coat of arms that was hanging on the wall, so that's probably how they'll address it. But in general, I really liked this episode. I'm totally blown away by this episode, and I think it was exceptionally well done, exceptionally emotional, and I expect the emotions are just going to get harder and harder and harder to deal with. They did a very good job of showing the pain of separation, the pain of losing each other, the pain of trying to go on living when the other portion of your heart, or your heart, Jamie was Claire's heart and Claire was Jamie's heart. Ian said it perfectly towards the very end of the episode when he talks about how his leg is gone and he feels pain. I think Ian, when Ian and Jamie are talking, and Ian talks about his leg being gone, and then talking about how Fergus is going to feel the same way with his hand, and he looks at him and says, but Claire was your heart. I love that relationship. I love Ian and Jamie's relationship. That's the kind of relationship that men want to have with each other. It's hard for us to have it because it's hard for us to find people like that. But man, I tell you, when you find that kind of person, and I do, I have a best friend who we can talk about anything. I love this man to death. He is a brother to me, and I love him to death. And I love how their relationship is, and that's all he had to say. He just had to say, "But Claire is your heart." And I mean, I know what it's like to have lost my leg, and feel like that leg's there once in a while, and sometimes it just hurts and hurts like it was fresh cut off. But it's nothing. But he's trying to say, but I understand it's nothing like the feeling of having lost your heart. So anyway, I'm going to end it here because I want to start getting emotional myself, thinking more about the episode. I really liked it, and I've only seen it twice, and I guarantee I'll watch it two or three more times through the week. I will probably watch episode 1 and 2, kind of watch them back to back, to be ready for episode 3 next weekend. And next weekend's going to be hard because it looks like, Jamie is now going to be in the actual prison, being at Wentworth, and Claire going through medical school and becoming a surgeon. I think we're going to see some of Bree even older. Some of that stuff go on. This is Voyager's a lot of people's favorite book, and they're doing a really good job of staying true to the book and true to the storyline of the book. I'm happy to see this, and I was getting kind of overwhelmed with Outlander, but with the episodes going and really even making these videos and talking with everybody, I'm really getting jazzed up for it. And I know it sounds weird, but I can't wait for the season to end, because that means I get to go back to reading the books and novellas and all again. I told Shannon I wasn't going to do it until after the season's over. So once the season's over, I get to dive back into reading the books, and hopefully, because it'll be 2018, which is when I think book 9, Go Tell the Bees, is supposed to be out, it'll all kind of coincide, and I'll be able to go straight into book 9 and just devour that one too. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and tagging people and sharing the videos. I try and put them wherever I can. I'm not very good at sharing the link once I'm done with it, maybe because I'm just using my phone all the time. But regardless, thank you guys for watching and supporting, and just want to shout out to my wife Shannon Wilson for supporting me with this, and for Corey Kelly for telling me to keep on doing it, and for giving me the strength and courage to do it, and just everyone else, Cassie and Melinda, Malia, and just all you people. Thank you all so much. And also to Julia LeBlanc. I guess I ended up joining another Outlander page again the other day, and saw she was on there, and I got to interact with her, and I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world. If y'all don't know, which most everybody does, she makes all those really cool videos where she sets episodes and scenes from several episodes to cool music and everything. So thank you all. Got to end it because it's getting close to 10 minutes. Thank you very much. I will talk to y'all next week.